Extra Super Special Restored Republic via GCR report as of October 18, 2021. Compiled mode. October 18, 2021 12:01 AM EDT by Judy Byington, MSW, LCSW, therapist, journalist, author, 22 Faces, Inside the Extraordinary Life of Jenny Hill and Her 22 Multiple Personalities. Trust the plan. We are at war, we are fighting for life and good, not everything will be clean cut. Scare events were necessary. Do you trust the US military? Do you trust the chain of command? Have faith, we are in control. Patriots, you were chosen for a reason. You are being provided the highest level of intel to ever be dropped publicly in the history of the world. Use it to protect and comfort those around you. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Judy note, on Sun. Afternoon 17th of October, a very high up insider reported that the monies from Dubai 1 and Dubai 2 became liquid on Sat. 16th of October and the bonds had been paid out for the global currency reset. It was felt that the German bonds and the Yellow Dragon bonds would be ready on Moon. 18th of October. They also reported that the 800 numbers for Tier 4 beta set redemption/exchange appointments would go out either Sunday night or by 8 AM Moon. 18th of October, though didn't indicate in which time zone that would occur. Also on Monday 18th of October. GCR bonds would be liquid, allowing a green light for 26 master accounts to release funds to pay masters. On Tuesday, 19th of October or Wednesday 20th of October, funds are expected to be available for the lower tiers. The general public Tier 5 would follow in about 3 days, or around Wednesday 20th of October. On Sunday 17th of October, the cabal's bankruptcy was complete. The Federal Reserve, IRS and U.S. taxpayer dollars were no longer under their control and had been returned back to the people. The global currency reset and gold standard for 209 nations, plus Nizar/Jazara law could now be enforced. Restored Republic. End of the world as we know it. Q. Return of the King. A. Whiplash 347, the storm is almost here. We soon would be in full global martial law, and transitioning from Crown maritime law to the basics of common law of the original 1776 Constitution. Make sure you have 2 to 3 weeks worth of necessities. The military will also supply food and supplies when needed. Be 30 days of red wave. Monday 11th of October to Thursday 11th of November, expect a market crash/blackout/revelations/military takeover/final lockdown/mass arrests. Planes and trains grounded. Lights/power switched off while changing over to Tesla-free energy. World War III scare event, 34 satanic buildings and dams bombed. Bitcoin servers turned off. 99. 5% of crypto gone. Nuke sirens water event. Stock market crash. Global martial law. Castle Rock, Scenario Quantum Systems. Project Odin switched on .c. 3-day event, WED. 20th of October to Saturday 23rd of October. 3-day event worldwide blackout. Should be a quick changeover to Tesla-free energy. 10 days of darkness Saturday 23rd of October. To Monday 1st of November, disclosure through 8 hours of movies broadcast in many languages and 3 time zones for 10 days. No texts, phone calls or internet while Operation Mockingbird was being wiped, rebooted, and Project Odin Starlink Internet coming online. Become an undercover journalist. T. News highlights for Sunday 17th of October. Between now and Thursday 11th of November, expect a market crash, blackouts, revelations, a military takeover, lockdown, and mass arrests. White hats were organizing hundreds of thousands of veterans and discharged military to prepare for war against the cabal. The military has been organized across the globe. Troops had been called up and were in place ready for action. On Sunday 17th of October, the U.S. incorporated and defaulted on its debt, and therefore the cabal no longer owned the Federal Reserve, IRS, and U.S. taxpayer dollar, which was returned back to the people. This opened the door for a global currency reset and return to gold-backed currencies for the 209 nations participating. Fox News' Maria Bartiromo reported that Nancy Pelosi may step down soon. Cargo ships full of goods remained crowding the seas on both coasts, with frustrated sailors reporting, they still do not allow ships to dock in order to raise prices for consumer goods and create the illusion of a crisis. The government is a criminal organization, a predatory mafia. Trust the plan, the military was the only way. Eventually worldwide military coups will begin, but first, martial law. The military in 32 countries will activate martial law against riots, food shortage, gas shortage, vaccine mandates, forced lockdowns. Citizens of the world will rise against the deep state pandemic. The martial law will be an excuse by white hats to bring in military in all major countries. In those days when people are under martial law, the deep state cabal and those who colluded in the scheme of the pandemic, bank, pharmaceutical companies and deep state affair will be arrested. 0 hour plus the fall of the cabal in all countries. G. Whiplash 347, POTUS post about turning off the Christmas lights and celebrating Halloween at Mar-a-Lago tells me it's all gonna blow up this week. As you know, we are also flipping the calendar back to the Julian calendar. We would have these days of darkness then flip the calendar. So October will be a 40-day month. We were told Christmas is coming early. This also makes me feel that we will then be celebrating Christmas on November 9th. Mirror 9/11, 11/9. This way of writing the date will be changed to day/month/year. Jesus was born on September 11th. Darkness ends and we will have 4 weeks to get prepared for Christmas and the victory celebration/inauguration/concert event on 11. 11. In the 10 days of darkness, God sends down His angels to help us. Those in the Federal Witness Protection Program will be walking out to guide and unite us all. Many will be performing 11.11.h, the sequel to The Fall of the Cabal by Janet Seabart and Synth the Coder. Part 1, Who is the Cabal? In this God knows how many parts in total series, the Cabal will be fully exposed. This sequel is not about Q, nor Trump. It is about the cabal. It will give you info that will blow you off your socks. Crime, murder, money laundering, cartels, high treason, all of which under your nose. Who is the cabal? This sequel is not about Q, nor Trump. It is about the cabal. It will give you info that will blow you off your socks. Crime, murder, money laundering, cartels, high treason, all of which under your nose. Part 2, The Wrath of the Jesuit Council. From Weishaupt and the creation of the Order of the Illuminati to Napoleon in World War I. Follow their trail of destruction in order to know whom we are dealing with. Part 3, about the Russian Revolution, the Great Depression and World War II. All instigated by the cabal. Through manipulating the stock market, by pushing cabal puppets forward, and by ruthlessly killing millions of people who stood in their way. With one goal, and one goal alone. Part 4, The Protocols of Zion. Part 5, about the Georgia Guidestones, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, the UN, and the Peacekeepers. Part 6, about Henry Kissinger, Population Policy, the UN and its many NGOs, the UN Population Fund, population control, forced abortions, and sterilizations, and Planned Parenthood, and Margaret Sanger. Part 7, about the 5,500 NGOs, connected to the UN, who do so-called charity work. Upon investigating their very own financial papers, we discover that NGOs are nothing but the perfect business model to launder money, billions of dollars, to avoid paying tax, and to invest in the cabal's main target, depopulation and world dominance. Join us to peel off a few more layers of this onion, to find who the cabal truly is. Part 8, exposure of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, their so-called philanthropy in India and Africa in the form of one of the most favorite tools of the cabal to roll out the protocols of Zion and Agenda 21 and 2030. Part 9, further exposure of Bill Gates, his obsession with genetically modifying everything he can lay his hands on, and his secret ties to the US Army. Also exposing the corruption of Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, current Director General of the WHO. Part 10, further exposure of Bill Gates, being involved in some of the most polluting companies in the world. Exposing his money fraud and redefining philanthropy. Part 11, the ultimate weapon of Bill Gates, gene drive technology, synthetic biology. A curse or a blessing? Part 12, the ultimate weapon of Bill Gates, gene drive technology, synthetic biology. A curse or a blessing? Part 13, final exposure of Bill Gates, his last evil schemes in the limelight. Part 14, the era of depopulation. What does that look like in our daily lives? About wars, natural disasters, famine, and drought, plagues, and diseases. The true story behind HIV/AIDS and the Spanish flu. Part 15, the era of depopulation. About our poisoned food, water, and care products, about GMOs and family planning. The true story behind sex education and the LGBTQ movement. Part 16, the era of depopulation. The truth behind chemtrails and electrosmog. Part 17, the era of depopulation, Part 18, Part 1 of multiple episodes about the biggest medical scam of all times. Food, fuel, goods shortages crisis: U.S. Costs of heating fuel, eggs, meat, fish, peanut butter and baby food were all skyrocketing. Italy, ports of Genoa and Trieste blocked all weekend as workers strike against COVID mandates. The working week resumes tomorrow, hopefully bosses cave and freedom wins. U.S. Treasury Deputy Second warns unvax Americans that shortages will continue until everyone was jabbed. Some sailors on ships that jammed both coasts waiting to unload claimed the holdup was deliberately perpetrated by the U.S. government Biden administration, which wanted to up the cost of goods. Biden's economy: retailers are warning of price hikes and shortages over the holiday season. Products are not just harder to get, but more expensive. Italy is blocked from north to south. Remember Solidarity, the protests of the Gdansk dockers led to the fall of the communist regime in Poland. Is history repeating itself? The regime of banker Mario Draghi, the neo-communist dictatorship of capitalist financiers, of which he is a worthy representative, is facing mass protests from the north to the south of the peninsula. The port of Trieste launched an attack on the Green Pass. The port of Ancona responded. In addition, it was joined by the ports of Liguria, including the Great Port of Genoa and others, such as Gioia Tauro and Civitavecchia at the gates of Rome. The blockade of ports, of course, causes failures in logistics. Trucks can neither enter nor leave, nor load or unload. Dockers aren't the only ones on the warpath. Powerful protests are also taking place in Turin near factories. truck drivers, other employees, ordinary citizens and many students joined the demonstrations everywhere, in Florence, in Turin, in Milan in front of the courthouse, the university and the headquarters of the state TV channel RAI, in small towns and in the capital Rome at the Circus Maximus. Selling cars in the era of the chip shortage, online chats and no more haggling. Pandemonium looms for the world as the everything shortage meets the dark winter thanks to collapsing global supply chains by Drive. Matthew Mavak, a Malaysian expert on risk foresight and governance, thought the coming years will be marked by extreme socio-economic turbulence. The world is reportedly facing an everything shortage for essential goods are getting harder, farther, and more time-consuming to find. These shortages affect the entire gamut of the social pyramid structure. The typical production-to-delivery cycle is repeatedly hammered by a macabre musical chair of woes in tune with Murphy's Law: anything that can go wrong will go wrong. L. Global financial crisis: global public debt hits record high of $88 trillion, IMF. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, said on Wednesday that global government debt is estimated at 97.8% of the world's gross domestic product in 2021. That is 0.8 percentage points lower than a year before but still at record high levels as a result of the massive fiscal responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. Globally, public debt now amounts to $88 trillion, according to the IMF, but is expected to decline by about 1 percentage point of the world's GDP per year in 2021 and 2022 before stabilizing at about 97% of GDP. In the coming years, debt is expected to remain persistently higher than the levels projected before the pandemic. In advanced economies, it is projected to be almost 20 percentage points higher through 2026, the IMF said in its report. China, Evergrande has $300 billion, 259 billion euros, in liabilities and missed at $83.5 million, year 71,98 million euros, interest payment last month, shaking markets worldwide. Interim investigation: Fox News' Maria Bartiromo is reporting that Nancy Pelosi may step down soon. Now that's very interesting since we know Trump is getting closer. Forced resignation? Oh, the real news for Sunday 17th of October, 2021: White Hats organizing hundreds of thousands of veterans, discharged military to prepare for war. Catholic Church, Archbishop Vigano claims that the Pope is a zealous cooperator in the Great Reset, who pursues the demolition of the Church in order to replace it with an organization of Masonic inspiration. New York, defund the media, anti-mandates protesters chant at NYC rally. Germany, troop movements throughout Germany. American and alliance units are in position. There has been a report that the army is occupying hospitals throughout Germany for a short time, along with firefighters and police. Haiti, a group of 17 U.S. missionaries including children was kidnapped by a gang in Haiti on Saturday, according to a voice message sent to various religious missions by an organization with direct knowledge of the incident. The missionaries were on their way home. France, hundreds of protesters, including members of the Yellow Vest movement, took to the streets of Paris on Saturday to protest the recent health mandates and against increasing fuel prices. South Africa, the International Constitutional Tribunal for World Peace have embarked on a legal process to charge and bring to justice the illegitimate government entity that is running South Africa, namely the corporation called the Republic of South Africa, which is registered with SIC number. The ongoing process had led to the President, his cabinet, SARS, SARB and their affiliates receiving a notice to vacate their offices within 10 days as of the 4th of October 2021. This notice has expired on the 15th of October 2021 and imminent arrests will be carried out as of the 18th of October 2021. We invite all South Africans to witness the fulfillment of these warrants. Join us on the 18th October at Union Buildings at 11 a.m. This is the biggest case in the world right now. Not only are the people of South Africa seeking a ruling to hold their president and parliament liable for the damages inflicted by the globalists' COVID crime against humanity, but they are also seeking a ruling that will liquidate their central bank in order to pay damages suffered by the people. Military news/quick reads by QTSR. Turkey's nightmare week in Syria continues. Assad's army attacked the main base of Erdogan-backed militants in Idlib, 5 kilometers from the Turkish border. Turkish military intelligence officers are among those killed in the strike. Israel has allegedly assassinated Midhat Saleh, an ex-member of Syrian parliament, according to reports in Syria. Russian military vessels chased away a U.S. naval destroyer that attempted to violate Russian territorial waters during Russian-Chinese naval drills in the Sea of Japan. Lebanon. In the middle of Beirut, a metropolis of millions, opposing militias are fighting street battles, using firearms and grenade launchers. So far 5 dead and 30 injured. Turkey is preparing for a new military operation against the Kurds in Syria. Israel, over the next few weeks, the air forces of Germany, America, UK, Greece, France, Israel, India, Italy. Will take to the skies in Israel. Urgent, Chinese state media Global Times writes, that PLA will maintain high alert and is ready to fight anytime. It will resolutely defeat all external interference in Taiwan independence separatist acts, safeguarding national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Meanwhile, on the southeastern flank of the NATO, where Serbia and Russia already begun their annual Slavic Shield 2021 exercise in Serbia. A Panzer-S anti-aircraft missile and cannon system destroyed an unmanned helicopter during the exercise. Kosovo border tensions still on high alert as Serbian ill forces to exercise nearby. Sudan protest calls for military coup as political crisis deepens. USAF HC-130J, E3C supports combat search and rescue training in South Korea. Japanese warship arrives in Singapore from Sri Lanka. U.S. Destroyer attempted to violate the state border of the Russian Federation in the Sea of Japan and refused to turn around. Russia deployed the huge admiral tributes and Americans turned around when the Russian Navy approached 60 meters close. India. U.S. soldiers participate in friendly matches amid joint military exercise Unibya. The military are striking in Italy. Great news! The Military Aviation Union calls for its first strike ever in protest against the Green Pass for work effective as of 15 October. North Korea's Kim Jong-un vows to build an invincible military as he accuses the U.S. of creating tensions. A combined force of CNA, CDF, Hakka and CNDF has carried out a joint strike against Myanmar military and his forces who are stuck between the main highway of Hakka City and Phalam in Shan State. The attack results in 7 military vehicles destroyed, many soldiers dead and injured. MPT telephone line has been cut off in Hakka City and Phalam town following lots of explosions in Hakka City, Shan State. QMedBads: Tesla biohealing. Having more medbed generators equals more Tesla life force and better healing. Tesla biohealing medbed generators, recharge and repair your cellular health with life force energy. Whiplash 347, I just spoke to a doctor friend of mine who works for the RFDS, Royal Flying Doctor Service. And boy oh boy, he is clued up on all the med beds coming. He knows about it all. Whiplash 347, the last 6 months of Obama presidency. He sold Syria 8 times M28/M388 Davy Crockett's nuclear mortars. Syria let one go. It killed 20 Russian soldiers. US nukes killing Russians. Not so good. The other 7 were stolen by General Qasem Soleimani of Iran, who was working for the CIA. They were letting him into the US to take uranium and other weapons back to Iran. Vlad started moving Russians out of Russia. He was preparing for World War III. On the eve of the election, I decided to go to church. It was there I started talking to a group of 6 middle-aged women. They were mothers of Australian soldiers on deployment in Afghanistan. Our Australian army had just been briefed that if Hillary won, she was going to surround Russia with nuclear rockets imminently and start World War III. S restored Republic: passed, George = John. On July 4, 2019, Vice President Pence flew out on AF-2. Something happened. The plane changed call sign to SAM 239/329. From there, George was sworn in secretly as the new vice president. In the shadows, shall we say. Right after that, George's official White House Twitter page appeared. He would share POTUS schedules at 3 a.m. for the following day and many other things. George was aboard AF-1 last January when they flew to Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. Ever since July 4, 2019, you have seen a different Mike Pence. Sam 239, we will call him. Future Trump, reinstated as 19th president, calls up a new vice president, JFK Jr., as everything from 1871 was illegal and unconstitutional. Justice Thomas, only Supreme Court justice remaining. Trump will step down. John will become president like you would have if it wasn't for Hillary plotting to kill him. He will then call up General Flynn as his vice. Trump will become one of the 7 new kings. Most likely the King of Kings. 7 trumpets. 7 presidential MSGs to all phones on Earth. 7 kingdoms. T. Unplugging from the Matrix starts here. 1855. ISIS formed by Sanusi family linked to UK royals, Khazarians. 1861, merged with 322 Skull and Bones, Khazarians. 1870 to 1930, Big Pharma, Khazarian. 1871, Act of England's secret constitution placed by secret societies, Khazarians. 1912, Titanic/Olympic sinking. Who was on board? What really happened? Those who oppose the Federal Reserve Guild. 1913, Federal Reserve. 1917, the Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by the British government. 1917, during the First World War, Rothschild/Khazarians. 1917 to 1923, Bolshevik Revolution. 1940, McDonald's, Khazarians. 1945 to 1959, Operation Paperclip/Mockingbird. Khazarian ''S. 1948, Israel formed Khazarian/Bolshevik government. 1947, CIA formed, Khazarians. 1949, Mossad formed, Khazarian ''S. 1963, JFK will splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the winds. 1967, Operation Mockingbird exposed.